So let's drink to Danny's honor. Let's wake him to God and hope he gets to heaven at least an hour before the devil finds out he's dead. Welcome to Hey Guys Podcast. I'm Rod Liam, and this week we watched Road to Perdition. Sam Mendes' rain-soaked, bullet-quiet gangster tragedy that looks like every frame was painted in oil and lit by a dying candle. It's a film where nobody raises their voice, but every silence feels like a confession. And honestly, it might be one of the most beautifully shot crime films ever made. Conrad L. Hall didn't just win the Oscar, he claimed it like it was destiny. This is a story about fathers and sons, loyalty and betrayal, and the impossible task of trying to be a good man while doing very bad things. Tom Hanks plays against type as Michael Sullivan, a hitman who loves his family more than the world will ever allow. Paul Newman in his final live-action role brings a quiet, devastating weight to a man who knows he's losing control of everything he built. And Jude Law slinks through the film like a corpse-obsessed goblin with a camera, the world's creepiest paparazzo. The cast is immaculate, the atmosphere is thick with rain, smoke, and Catholic guilt, and the violence is sudden, brutal, and final. Mendes isn't making a gangster movie, he's crafting a myth, a fable, a story about a man trying to outrun the consequences of the life he chose, even as he drags his son towards a future he hopes will be cleaner than his own. It's tragic, it's gorgeous, and it hits like a funeral march with a Tommy gun accompaniment. Now, Liam, I said last week that I've never seen this film. I picked it out of curiosity because why have I not seen this film?
I'd be amazed if you, after that intro, you're like...
I was about to say, I bet you can't think what I'm going to give this when we get to the end.
I mean, it's an unbelievable movie. I think this is one of the greatest movies that nobody talks about anymore. We mentioned at the end of last episode...
I'm sorry. I wrote it down. This is a movie that never was. Like, nobody seems to mention this film anymore. I don't understand. And that might be why I've missed it.
Yeah, no, I totally understand it. I spoke to one of my friends because obviously I watched it last night and I was just like, holy shit, this film is unbelievable. And I watched it back in 2000.
I was going to say, you've seen it before, haven't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it in the cinema, 24 years ago. And I remember liking it, but I was, like 20 then. A completely different level of appreciation. The only film that compares to this, actually, is when we did The Usual Suspects. When we rewatched it, and I was like, holy shit, this film is even better than I remember. And then I asked the question, I almost got the question out of my mouth. Why does nobody talk about, oh yeah, because of the director, because of Kevin Spacey. There's a reason nobody really talks about The Usual Suspects anymore, despite the fact that it's an impeccable movie. Whereas this... I'm just like, I don't understand it. Why is it just kind of disappear? And it happens to some movies. You know, they're these fantastic movies, and then they fall off the face of the earth. This might be the best movie that has fallen off the face of the earth. And I was literally, as the movie's wrapping up, I'm like, is there any reason I wouldn't give this 5 stars? That's the only thing I'm really thinking at that point. Because as you mentioned in the intro, absolutely gorgeous. I mean, you know, you mentioned the cinematography by Conrad L. Hall, who won the Oscar posthumously for this. I mean, to say it was deserved would be an understatement. One of the greatest casts of the noughties, fantastic performances across the board, wonderful direction. And all I could think of was that maybe it got caught somewhere between the pulp of the source material and the brilliance of its direction, cinematography, and performances. And when I say that, I mean the source material, and this is based on is it a DC graphic novel?
A DC graphic novel, yes.
Yeah. It is inherently, the narrative and the story is quite pulpy, and I don't think the story quite lives up to the trimmings around it. Trimming sounds quite reductive when I'm talking about some of the best performances of the decade and one of the most beautifully shot movies that I can remember. But that's the only thing keeping it from 5-star brilliance. That, and maybe because you can see the influences, whether it's John Ford, whether it's Unforgiven, whether it's The Godfather, it perhaps falls just short of, you know, and we're talking about the highest of highs, but otherwise this is a brilliant movie.
And when you're talking about like these kind of films, you're expecting a lot more of death and gunfire, you're expecting a lot more of car chases, things that 1930s gangster biopics or anything like that you would expect. You don't get any of that. It's just, as I've already said, it's quiet, calm. This entire thing, it goes along like a day in a life, a normal day in the life of a gangster.
Yeah, but it doesn't even have the kind of... I thought it was going to have moment. You think of something like a Nicholas Winding Refn movie, where they're quite quiet, but they have these like explosions of violence all of a sudden, and they hit harder. Did you just scoff then? Because
yes.
You don't like him?
Yeah.
Fair enough. He's not everyone's cup of tea. I do like Nicholas Winding Refn, but I understand where you're coming from. But my point being is that you have these moments of extreme violence which come out of nowhere, and they hit harder accordingly. the violence in this film is largely quite almost poetic, like the rest
Yes,
of the film.
yeah, and it's just
Sorry,
I
go
mean,
for it.
sorry, as much like you said, the violence. I don't want to say it was such a beautiful shot, but it was such a beautiful shot when Kieran Hines gets shot in the head by
Wonderful.
fuck me, I can't remember
By
Bond's name
Connor.
now. All of a sudden, yeah, Connor, Daniel Craig.
Mhm.
When he and the way he falls, the slow motion,
Yeah.
the jerk, the way he's falling,
It could
it's so
be.
beautiful, and you're seeing that through the eyes of a child.
That's
Through
the important thing, isn't it? I think,
Superman,
because
yeah,
you
yeah,
could argue that it's maybe a bit exaggerated, but I think the idea is that you're supposed to be seeing it through the eyes of the child and it's supposed to have this hugely dramatic effect. So the slow motion, like most of the choices in this film, especially the ones where you think, oh, it's a bit of a swing stylistically, they always feel like narratively justifiable.
yeah. And let's say he's brilliant as well. Mini Superman is great, Tyler Hoechlin, because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he
I'm so glad you said his name. I wasn't sure how to pronounce it, so I'm going to go with Hoechlin. Thank you very much.
uh because he's fantastic, and I don't know how old he was in real life, but he's playing a 12-year-old. Smokes a pipe impeccably, as he's
That's how you win me over. I mean, when you see a kid with like the flat cap riding a bike, smoking a pipe, I'm like, oh, take me back to a simpler
yeah.
time. There's something about the idea of smoking a pipe where I'm just like, oh, he looks like a gentleman. But I'm one of those people. I went to Italy a couple of years ago, and none of the kids were vaping; they were all smoking cigarettes, and I was just like, this is better. They just
This is
like
yeah.
I just don't think kids care about their health. I don't want to see 12-year-olds with protein shakes. I want to see them smoking pipes. That's what I
If
want
they're
to
gonna
see.
get their nicotine, get it the chemically induced way. Don't have it taste like bubble gum or cherry spritz or
No,
whatever it
smoke
is.
a pipe, you
Gently.
pussy. Yeah, look.
When he's doing it, and I loved it as well because he's smoking it, he gets hit pretty hard with the snowball from his 8-year-old brother who can
Mhm,
throw a
mhm,
fucking snowball. And he's still got the pipe in his mouth, and his mum's looking through the window. Jennifer Jason Lee,
mhm.
clinically underrated because she didn't get a lot to do in this.
Well,
But
that is one of the other criticisms you could point at this film. The women don't get much to
no,
do, to say the least.
she's looking through the window. She's smiling. She can clearly see the pipe. He's not bothered. But as soon as
Mhm.
he sees Dad's car pull around the corner, that pipe gets hidden. It's like
Well,
fucking
again,
hell.
it's that old school thing. I'm not sure what it was like, but in my house, there was the whole, of course, my mum kind of ruled the roost or whatever, but the fear was my dad.
Always
And if,
when
she, if
when
it,
your dad gets home from work.
Yeah, yeah. And
That's
my
the
dad just all you have to do is do the grit his teeth thing, and it was just, I better run because he never used to smack me on the ass. He'd smack me on the side of the leg.
yeah.
It's like, dude, that fucking hurts. So yeah, I can totally relate to that. But like you said, it's not just the cinematography. It's not just the legitimately unbelievable cast for this movie. And I should mention the cast quickly because we're talking Tom Hanks, Paul Newman, Tyler Hoechlin, who you already mentioned, he's not out of his depth considering who
No,
he's playing
no.
against. We are talking about some of the greats of Hollywood here.
And he was found
Daniel Craig,
he
Jude
was
Law.
found via a casting call, like 20,000 kids or something like that. And he's
Really? Well, you've got to get that. You've got to
yeah,
get it right. Like, how many movies have been ruined by like an annoying kid? And it is actually. Sorry, I'll just Stanley Tucci,
yeah.
Kieran Hines, who plays Finn, who you already mentioned. He dies early, but he always leaves an impact. Is that if that casting isn't bang on, then the second half of the movie just doesn't work. Because I think when I thought back to this movie, what I really remembered was it being like a road trip movie. It's like,
Yeah.
him and his dad in the car. And obviously there's a reason for it. It's not your traditional road trip. But that doesn't actually start for like an hour.
No,
It's like for an hour of this movie, like you said, it's a quieter, kind of gangster movie, but it's a gangster movie for an
and
hour, a
then
pretty traditional one. And then the second half kind of is the movie I think most people think of when they think of Road to
and
Perdition.
they're not even trying to get to Perdition. Perdition's mentioned, and we're going to get there. Oh no, we're not going there anymore. They know we're going, so we're going to go everywhere else other than Perdition till the end.
Well,
So it's back and forth.
yeah, and
Do you know,
that does lead to one of my major issues with the film, the very end of this film. Not the way it's shot, not but it was just like, what, you just forgot he was going to be there?
yeah.
He mentions it earlier in the film. It's like, we can't go to Perdition. Jude Law's going to be there, and he's a psycho.
So
And then they
what
get
I'm
everything done, and then
assuming,
they just go there anyway.
so I'm assuming he probably thought it was all called off
Yeah,
after
no, I agree with you.
speaking
I agree with you.
to Frank Nitti, who it's really. I mean, I love the Tooch anyway, but to see his version of Frank Nitti and then look at Billy Drago's version of Frank Nitti in The Untouchables,
Very,
very different,
very
yeah,
different. And
very
it's
different.
interesting, isn't it? Because everyone else, I believe, is fictional, with the exception of Frank Nitti, who is based on it. Because there are, like,
Yeah.
they,
So
they
John
do
Rooney.
allude to the whole Capone thing,
So
but it's only in the background, isn't it?
John Rooney is based on John Looney,
Oh, I see.
a
Right,
Chicago mobster. and I believe that it is based on a true story of a guy that worked for John Looney.
Mhm,
And, Anthony LaPaglia played
mhm.
Capone, but they Sam Mendes decided to just cut his scenes out,
I think
so
that's
there
probably
wasn't
for the best. I
and it
like the
was, yeah.
fact that it
You
kind
only
of
know
like
that,
it grounds the story, but you
yeah.
don't need it.
You only know that because there's a special thanks to Anthony LaPaglia in the credits
Mhm,
at the end. But so it's but I'm assuming that Sullivan thought it's all called off, and maybe Frank Nitti did call it off.
mhm.
But because now Jude Law's in his like little ripped body or whatever, because he's looked beautiful, like he was great in this. I'm guessing he then did it for free because it's
Mhm.
revenge for his face getting messed up.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
I guess so. Like you said, I thought it was one of the kind of more poorly explained elements of the film because for the most part, he seems to be making all the right choices, and then it feels like an unnecessary risk right at the end of the movie. And it's just, and one of the other issues with this film is that as brilliant as it is and a fantastic journey is the one you go on, is that, and it comes back to the idea that the source material is relatively pulpy, is certainly in terms of from a narrative perspective, is that there are no surprises in this film.
no, no,
You know exactly what's going on. Don't get me wrong, those moments, like the moment at the end with, is it Harlan that Jude Law plays?
yeah.
Harlan Maguire? You know he's going to shoot Tom Hanks at the end of the film. Like when he finally has his moment of peace. He's looking out. It's wonderfully shot because you can see the reflection of the sea
So I was
in the
the
mirror.
reflection. You can see the reflection of his son, so you see his son's reaction
Yeah,
through reflection as his dad gets shot twice in the gut.
yeah, but it's like
Yeah,
I think any other film, I think you would see, and I remember watching for it. You expect him to kind of walk in via the reflection, but then you realize he's actually hidden by the light,
yeah,
and that he just appears. It's kind of similar to the shot with Connor earlier when Connor goes to Michael Sullivan's house, Tom Hanks's house, and kills his wife and his younger son. There's a scene when Michael Jr. is at the door and they're looking at each other and he takes the mask off.
yeah.
And you're just like, why would he take the mask off? He's completely screwed. And then you realize the way they shoot it from the other side is that because of the light, he's seeing his reflection rather than him.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, it's elite level stuff, this is. I mean,
Speaking,
it's not the most beautiful shot in the scene in the movie, but you can almost, like you said earlier, every scene looks like an oil painting. From the very opening shot of this film, you're just like, you could just take this, frame it, stick it on the wall.
the way things are shot, and you said the elite level stuff as well. Did Sam Mendes mean? And I gotta think maybe he did.
Mhm.
The it's not irony. I don't know what the word would be about killing Connor in a
Mhm.
bathroom, considering Connor killed his wife and son in a bathroom. Like, is that
Oh,
just
see, I see what you mean. I actually thought of it because it was so low key. Because, yeah, spoiler alert for favorite scene in the movie. The sequence before when he goes to kill Rooney
yeah?
is one of my favorite sequences in any film I've seen. Basically, like I had no recollection of it, which seems amazing going back and watching it because like this is masterful stuff. That
Well,
whole sequence.
it's all dark. You've got it's like cinematic poetry. I mean, spoiler alert for my favorite scene. Uh,
It's the best scene in the film. It's
yeah, and it's
unbelievable.
because there's no soundtrack. There's
No,
no
you
nothing.
have the Thomas Newman score, and the Thomas Newman score. It sounds like a Thomas Newman score. Like when you're watching this, yeah, it sounds a little bit like Shawshank. It sounds a little bit like The Green Mile. It doesn't stop it from being this like melancholy
No,
masterpiece.
and it's
And in
and
that sequence in particular.
it ends perfectly as well with Paul Newman going, "I'm glad it's you."
Oh
Should
yeah,
we just do it now? Because we both said so. Favorite scene of the movie is that. I'm
yeah.
sorry,
We'll
it
get that out
is.
of the way.
Yeah,
But I think the brilliance is that you go from this operatic kind of wonderfully shot finale where he decides to kill Rooney, and then when he goes to the God, what's the name of the hotel? The Lexington
yeah.
Hotel to kill Connor. It's just so low. It's like that whole idea that he's not deserving of
Which
a decent death.
I take umbrage with that, by the way.
Okay.
Stanley Tucci or Frank Nitti goes, "All right, I'll tell you where he is. The Lexington Hotel, room 428 or whatever it
Mhm.
is. Right? You're in that hotel. He's already been to that hotel.
Mhm.
That's your office. Just say he's here, room 428. You don't need
Yeah,
to
I see.
give him the name of the hotel that he's been
Oh,
to, and you live there."
you've got to be careful here, buddy. We've already stepped on favorite scene. Now you're stepping on Rob's take. We're jumping ahead of ourselves
No,
here.
no,
But no,
yeah,
I like your point though about it being a kind of reverse of what happened to his
yeah. I try to
wife
think
and
of
his
the
younger
word.
son.
I don't know if it's like poetry or
symmetry, I suppose.
symmetry, maybe, yeah. But
Maybe something like that. But I
again,
just thought it was more in terms of like they don't even have the decency to show him. You just see
and
his hands.
I thought that was done really well, though.
Yeah, me
You
too.
don't see you don't see Connor the flash of fear in his eyes if there's going to be fear or recognition that he's done. You just and there's no talk between them. Frank walks
No.
in. Michael walks in and he's like basically done 2 shots,
Yeah.
and then as he closes the door, the mirror on the back of the door just shows you the body
Well,
dripping
yeah,
blood.
it's the
It's
complete.
shot lovely.
It's the complete opposite of the sequence before of Rooney being deserving of this grandiose
Yeah.
death, and then Connor just being like as this kind of built out throughout the film. This whole idea is like as soon as you're not protected, he's going to die, and it's literally he goes direct as soon as Rooney's dead and he's no longer protected. Michael, they give up Michael immediately. Stanley Tucci's character gives up Connor immediately.
Yeah,
Michael just goes in and kills him, no fuss, no mess.
Again, it's insinuated in the background, and Capone wants this done now. You're costing us too much money. Just we'll give you Connor because he's a fucking shit, and we'll just make sure it's done. And that's why, again, I think that Nitti would have called the hit off, but Jude Law's character Harlan was like, no, he's fucked up my beautiful face.
Well, he's also a complete. I mean, he's basically like a really fucked up version of Spider-Man. Spider-Man takes photos and then he's actually as Spider-Man, and then he's basically giving himself away. It's like, oh, look, pictures of Spider-Man, but he's really Spider-Man.
Yeah,
and he's just killing people so he can make money off the photos. It's actually super dark, but while it works on a certain level, when the movie starts, it ticks all the boxes for it being a brilliant movie. The score is amazing. The cinematography is amazing. You see these cast members this is just dripping with quality. But every actor, I'm not sure if it's because they're so good, or you could even make an argument that they're slightly one-note, that every character is so exactly who you think they're going to be the moment you see them.
Yes.
And
yeah.
part of that, of course, is the fact that actors like Jude Law and Paul Newman, etc., sorry, I also forgot Daniel Craig's name, bizarrely. They can tell you so much with their facial expressions. They don't go heavily on dialogue. Straight away, as soon as you see Jude Law, you're like, he's a wrong one. You see Daniel Craig, it's like, oh, he is a slimy bastard who can't be trusted. As soon as you see Paul Newman, you're just like, oh, he's a lovely guy who definitely has a mean streak. And you don't need to be told. You just know it straight away.
And do you know what gives Daniel Craig away as well? Is his first introduction. When young Superman walks through the door, and he's there lying on the set, he's smoking a cigarette, and he's going, "Oh, which one are you?" And he says, "Oh, I'm Michael Sullivan Jr." Blah blah blah. And he's going, "Oh, well, you know me. Call me Connor. Don't call me Sir. Call me Connor. Oh no, better yet, call me Uncle Connor." And it's just creepy as fuck. You don't know who you're talking to. Just call me Uncle Connor. It's kind of the thing where he would have got up and locked the door and said, "Oh, come and sit next to me," and just talk. Oh,
yeah, he's creepy.
Stop. Yeah,
and every scene you see him in, his eyes have a level of desperation, which again speaks to the quality of the actor. And it's weird that we mentioned all these actors. We've not actually mentioned Tom Hanks because.
Before we move on, can I just say one more thing about that?
Yeah, go for it.
He plays the nepotism part perfectly as well. He thinks he can get away with everything because Dad's going to leave everything to him, and once Dad dies and leaves everything to him, he's not going to fuck it up. But everyone around him knows your dad's dead.
You can see the jealousy in every scene, how jealous he is of the relationship between Rooney and Michael. And again, the brilliance of this film is that it doesn't have a flashback. It doesn't lay on the narrative quickly. It just relies on really good actors telling you with their face all of their emotions, and it pulls off all the way through. But sorry, to bring it back to Tom Hanks. Yeah. So this was a big deal at the time because, he was, America's sweetheart. And
again, he plays against type. He definitely plays against archetype in regards to that. And I'm not expecting him to all of a sudden be an action hero, to go out and then start. But the fact that he's shooting guns, think of the last time Tom Hanks actually shot a gun.
Yeah, and he's quite mean and, I remember as well the timing of this movie. So I was trying to figure out if Tom Hanks is the biggest movie star of our lifetime. And when I say our lifetime, in terms of us growing up. So the obvious kind of other ones is Leo. Maybe some people are arguing for Denzel. I don't think he's quite in the same league. Tom Cruise, maybe Damon. Even The Rock, in his own way, was a massive star. And I know you don't like to hear it, but Will Smith was a huge box office star.
He was a box office star, yeah.
But I don't think anyone has quite matched Hanks during our lifetime. And especially, and we've done this a few times on the podcast, these amazing runs. And I think Tom Hanks's decade from 93 to this movie you could put it up against almost anyone. So Sleepless Seattle and Philadelphia in 93, Gump in 94, Apollo 13 and Toy Story in 95, That Thing You Do in 96, Private Ryan and You've Got Mail in 98, Toy Story and Green Mile in 99, Castaway 2000, Band of Brothers in 2001, and Road to Perdition and Catch Me If You Can in '02. Holy fucking shit. That is ungoddamn believable when you look back. It's just like, that's like 10 masterpieces almost. I mean, even the ones which I'm not so fussed on, you think of like You've Got Mail or Sleepless in Seattle, like rom-coms.
What years were you going?
All time.
What years were you going, sorry? When you said the decade?
93 through '02. So I think after '02, he was still a big star, but I think after this, it gets a little bit bumpy in the road and he doesn't maintain the same level. Yeah. And I know he was a big star. He's done some of our favorite films in like the late 80s, early 90s with The Burbs and, what's the baseball movie?
League of Their Own.
League of Their Own. Thank you. Sorry, the name just dropped out of my head. Movies that I adore. But I think it really was 93 in that combo of Sleepless in Seattle and Philadelphia when everyone suddenly went, oh no, this is like a legitimate leading man. Yeah. And from 93 through '02, it was nothing but net. Like the biggest miss is arguably That Thing You Do in 96. That's still a really good movie. It wasn't as big a hit, film, yeah. I like that film.
I think we said last week as well, he directed that.
Yeah, and if that's your biggest miss in a decade, you've had a pretty good decade. But to cap it off with this film and his performance with Newman, who you already mentioned, this is his last live action performance. It's just elite level stuff.
I love as well, like his last live action performance, his last line of the film as well. I'm glad it's you. He delivers that perfectly.
He's great.
It's so good.
Well, he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor, and it's what I found interesting because I think we both had the same reaction coming out of this. I hadn't seen it for 24 years. You'd never seen it before. We're like, where the fuck has this movie been hiding? It might be something akin to a masterpiece, if not quite there, close. I was like, why wasn't this more heavily involved in the Oscars? So Newman was up for Best Supporting Actor, but lost out to Chris Cooper in an adaptation, which is fair enough. Chris Cooper was very good in that movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't even nominated for Best Picture or Best Movie or Best Director. So Best Picture went to Chicago. Fine. Maybe I think that film ate this movie's lunch in so much like they were just like, we can't have two Chicago movies. And one of them's called Chicago, so let's just have that one. But
is that the singing one?
Yeah.
Singing one. The musical.
The singing one. Yeah. Which, it might not be a cup of tea, but it is a good movie. But it was Chicago, Gangs of New York, The Hours, Roman Polanski is the pianist, which actually won Best Director. I think that might change, retrospective, people look back at it. And The Two Towers. Now, I get Gangs of New York for Best Director, because when you watch it, it is an achievement. Best Picture over this, go fuck yourself. And listen, I'm a fan of Gangs of New York. It's got some of my favorite, like Daniel Day-Lewis is my favorite Daniel Day-Lewis performance, and some of the sequences in that film are genuinely mesmerizing. As a movie, does that hold together as a picture like this film does? Not on your life. Not on your life.
I mean, you said about Paul Newman winning should have won the Oscar, right? I mean, he should have won it anyway for entertaining the cast and crew during takes. Did you hear about how he entertained the crew?
No.
Walking on his hands, 77 years of age. We're just walking on his hands.
Well, I thought he was going to be like playing pool or something like that, or eating eggs. Who knows? Hard-boiled eggs. That's in his wheelhouse. But no,
he's just like, look at me, and just starts walking to people on his hands.
Unbelievable. Like, but it's amazing you have like two people that are so heavily involved in this film at the other ends of the spectrum in terms of where their careers are. So obviously, this is, as we mentioned, his last live action performance. This is only Sam Mendes' second film as director, which feels. And the film that came before it was American Beauty. That's the American Beauty being your first movie. I mean, it's not everyone's cup of tea. I still think it's an amazing movie. Then you go from that to Road to Perdition, Jarhead in '05, Revolutionary Road in '08, Away We Go in '09, which I've never really heard of. And then he went through the whole James Bond thing with Skyfall, Spectre, and then Empire of Light in '22, which I also don't know much about. And now I think he's all caught up in all this stuff.
And I wasn't a fan of it at all, but 1917,
which
course. Is 8.2. No, I didn't like it. I thought it sucked. I hated the one take fake thing. All three of us, a bunch of us went, me, Dave, and our friend Gareth, and we all sat there, and at the end of it, we all just looked at each other and went, well, that was shit. Like, we just couldn't get on with it. Yeah.
The weird thing with that film is that my only real recollection of it is that I liked it, but I'll say right now, it has not stuck with me at all. So
No.
obviously, it didn't have that much of an impact. To say it was rubbish, I would never go that far. But it was a film I enjoyed. I think I appreciated it more than I enjoyed it, maybe. And yeah, for whatever reason, it's just dropped out of my head. I couldn't give you a synopsis for that film at all.
Well, a man goes on a jolly holiday during
World
1917.
War One.
Yeah, yeah. He goes from point A to point B. He goes to the beach for a holiday. No,
Well, I
so
think I think I
sorry.
was just be clear. I think this is probably my favorite Sam Mendes movie.
Yes, it definitely is. At the
I make
moment,
an
it is.
argument for maybe an hour and a half of Skyfall is kind of ticking around the same until it kind of goes off the rails when it goes home alone
I
at the
mean, for
end.
me, Bond's a Bond. They do what they need to do. It's all right. I'm not going to say one is better than the other. Bond a Bond for me.
Bond to Bond,
Bond a Bond for me.
Skyfall, Moonraker, they're all the
Yeah,
same.
they're all the same. They're all the same. Uh, but I love why he picked Road to Perdition as his second film. Did you hear about that?
No, no, no.
So he did American Beauty, and then he's just like, right, we need to give this guy some more stuff. So they send him loads of. I think I got it in facts, but the different kind of scripts they sent him to.
Mm-hmm.
Does he want to direct? Does he want to direct? And he chose Road to Perdition because the script or the screenplay was a lot thinner than American Beauty. After doing, as he put it, a talky movie, this
Mm-hmm,
movie
mm-hmm.
was less talky, so he
It
decided
is.
to do it.
It
Yeah,
is less talking. He obviously went into this film thinking I can kind of show you my influences up on screen, which he
yeah,
does. And I don't think it's kind of like homage to the point of kind of like cribbing from the material. I think it is homage more than anything else, and I think it does feel like its own beast. But yeah, you can see why it would feel like such a change of
yeah.
pace. And
Do you
like I said, one of the criticisms of this film could be that it is maybe a little bit slight as a story, but it also gives the characters a bit of room to breathe.
do you think he's biting off more than he can chew as well? And maybe it might be his downfall. If it works, it'll be perfect, and he can
Mm-hmm.
again get his choice. But to do in the same year four different
Yeah,
biopics, but each be like,
I'm not sure.
I don't know if I need a full film about George Harrison or any of the Beatles, really, separate films.
Well, I mean, of all the people, George Harrison probably be a little bit more interesting than, say, Ringo, for instance.
Yeah,
I mean, it'll be very interesting to see the very clear box office trajectory of those films where you've got like two fighting for the top billion. George Harrison clearly third, and then Ringo starts
it
at the
feels like a Kevin Costner try where he did Horizon. You know, he did
I love
Horizon.
him.
He released. I still haven't watched it yet. He did Horizon, released it. You know, and he's filmed three in a row, and oh, they're
Yeah,
fantastic.
it's a
And
big
nobody
swing.
knows when number two is coming out because number one was. So is he
Yeah,
releasing these all at the same time as well? Are they all
I
coming to-
don't know, but I absolutely agree with you. I'm not like a hardcore Beatles fan, but I am a Beatles fan, and I'm more than happy to go and see a Beatles movie.
Yeah,
But to your point, do I need to see four of the fuckers, even if they are directed by Sam Mendes? The answer is no, I do not. It just feels like overkill to me.
yeah.
So yeah, and and there's going to be all overlap with them. You're going to like have certain bits where it's the same. You'll basically see the same shot from different perspectives. I guess that might be slightly interesting, but no, I honestly have no interest in watching four separate Beatles movies. There'll be plenty of people who do. My brother will probably be one of them. He's a bit of a Beatle maniac, but yeah, for me that feels like three movies too far, to say the least.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, I could deal with a biopic absolutely, but four of them in a row just seems. I mean, like I said, if it works, it's such a unique way of trying to tell a story.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if it works, it works. But can you imagine being the guy that like, and you pick the ones you want to watch? Like, I'll go watch Paul McCartney and John Lennon, but I won't watch George Harrison or Ringo Starr.
Yeah, it's a weird one. As you say, there is like compared to like Horizon, where it's kind of like a relatively dying dead genre, the Western, whatever you want to call it. And obviously it has its peaks and its troughs and all that other jazz, but it doesn't have the safety net there, which the Beatles do. Just inherently being about the Beatles, there is a certain safety net in terms of how much it'll make. And it'll be interesting to see how much money they throw at it. But yeah, like I said, this is nothing against Sam Mendes. I just don't want to watch four Beatles movies. But I do want to see the second part of Horizon, please, because I really enjoyed the first one. And I'm convinced that when it's seen as a whole, it's going to be reappraised potentially. Because when you see it as just part one and you have these three stories, and of course you have three stories and none of them finish, and I can see why people would be utterly infuriated. I went in very much with my eyes open, knowing that was going to happen. But of course, now I'm just kind of sitting on these three narrative strands, which have gone nowhere ostensibly.
That's why I
and it's
haven't watched
very
it. I've
infuriating.
been waiting
Yeah,
for
I
the two
totally
because
get it.
it's right. So go back to this film. What I loved
Yeah,
about this
yeah,
film
probably
as
should.
well is the themes. To me, there's four separate themes within this film that I absolutely love. You get the fathers and sons, different
Yep.
versions of fathers and sons in that.
Mhm.
Even Michael towards Ben, Michael towards Michael Jr. You've got Connor and John. Was his name John? John Rooney? Yeah, John Rooney. And
Yeah.
in John to Michael as well. The difference in regards to fathers and sons, loyalty and betrayal.
Mhm.
Michael's so loyal to him. Connor is super praised John Rooney, but
Mhm.
John is loyal to his own son. Beautiful.
They're complete opposite characters, yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
the cost of violence as well, like
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
cost it brings to people. And for me, the beautiful thing that I looked at is trying to break the cycle. He
Mhm.
doesn't want Michael Jr. to do anything that he did. So, I mean, even
Yeah.
though he's dying and Michael could have shot, all right, he got shot anyway, and Michael was outside, so that's fine. But he was so proud that Michael couldn't squeeze the
Couldn't
trigger.
shoot him,
So
yeah.
he
And like you
broke
said,
that
like,
cycle. Yeah.
because up until that point, I'm pretty sure that just about everybody who picks up a gun and plans to use it in this movie ends up dead. I don't think that's
Yes.
an accident.
Yeah.
Everybody dies, and I think don't get me wrong, they hardly bury the lead. From the very opening shot when you see Michael Jr. stand on the beach on the surface, it's like, well, he's already telling you, my dad doesn't. Tom Hanks does not make it in this movie, so he's going to die. It's still impactful when he does, of course, but I think the whole point was it's just like, well, yeah, violence begets violence. Everyone's going to die, and the one person who couldn't pull the trigger, they're going to be the one to survive. But yeah, it plays into there are strong themes, any one too many, and hence why sometimes I think this movie at its worst, and if it is me being hypercritical, can feel a little bit slight. But any time I come back to like the moment to moment movie making, the acting, everything that goes into it, I'm just like there's often very little to critique. It's like
Yeah.
if we've mentioned some of the start, like with Finn getting shot and how wonderful that sequence is, despite the fact that there's a guy getting murdered. The sequence with at the diner when you really get introduced to Jude Law's character, and
Oh,
again,
when
he's
they're
evil, but he's
talking
got
across the tables, it's
yeah,
I
and he's
shoot the
got the
dead.
teeth,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
nails. He puts far too much sugar into the tea. You're like, well, this guy is clearly a goddamn wrong'un. But the whole sequence is fantastic. The one with Mr. Kelly, which I'm not sure if it was intentional, but felt like a Mr. Kobayashi scene from Usual Suspects. To go back to that, the way it even feels like it has similar dialogue when Sullivan puts the gun to his head and he's basically saying, oh, you can't do anything to me. There's nothing worse than what would happen if I didn't give you this and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Even his intonation and the way he delivers the lines, I was just like, other than the fact that Mr. Kelly ends up dead, which Kobayashi doesn't in the film, I was like, this feels like a direct lift from The Usual
As
Suspects.
soon as he said, send them a message or give them a message for me, I knew he was pulling the trigger.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It was still a badass scene, wasn't it?
Oh, it's so good. It is so good. I have a question for you about the end. Sorry, I said so good 3 times then because I was trying to think of my question.
That's quite right.
Uh, So they get to Perdition, they get to Sarah's house,
Mhm.
beautifully white inside.
Of
Like
course it is. Yeah.
the dog comes running out,
Mhm.
instantly falls in love with Michael Jr. They
Of
play on the
course,
beach,
yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
fine. Where's Sarah?
We don't know.
Because at the end of it, it's not like then he's left his dad
Mhm.
bleeding on that pure white floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Harlan is dead there as well, and he's gone, and he's back in the car, not with the dog,
Mhm.
and gone back to the old couple
Mhm.
who will put him to work on the farm.
Well, they kind of played up to the idea that they really liked him. They wanted to have kids, but they met too late. It's just like it's basically just a really short way of saying he's going to be
Yeah,
fine.
he's
And
going
of course,
to he's going to
given
be
them
fine.
all.
Blah blah blah. But where's Sarah's his
Well, that's the thing, right?
maternal auntie. Sarah is family.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. I mentioned at the start of this film, and straight away you see the attention to detail. Now, the attention to detail in this film doesn't necessarily equate to realism, and I don't think realism is necessarily what he's going for. It really is. It's all about stylistic choices that feed into the narrative. And like you said, there's no reason for the inside of the beach house to be white, other than the fact that thematically and visually it works perfectly.
Yeah.
When they leave after he gets shot in that fantastic shootout with with Jude Law's character, and he gets clipped in the arm, and obviously they have to go live with the old couple for a few I don't know, whatever it is, weeks until he heals up. When they decide to leave the money for them, they're like, "Oh, we left you something." Where they leave the money is fucking insane. But do you know what? It looks amazing.
It looks great, but don't leave it. Leave it in the
exactly.
house. Don't leave it where a passerby could see a bag full of money and just go mine. And
Even if you take away the danger and you just kind of accept that they live out in the middle of nowhere, nobody's going to spot it. If someone said to you, "Oh, I've left you a little something," nobody would look outside between the two buildings. It's insane. But what it is gorgeous. That's it. That's the only thing you looked at and go, "That'll look great." And someone's just like, "Dude, Sam, that doesn't make any sense." Yeah. But it looks amazing. So
even when Tom Hanks is on the porch, and he's with her, and she's, I believe, knitting, and they're having a chat, and she's like, "Oh, he's a hard worker," which is like, fucking hell, he's going to go back to that family and just end up being put to work on a farm, but okay. And that's shot beautifully as well. And then you get like young Superman just having a nice wave, just waving as much, and it's all lovely. And even when Michael's in there trying to figure out what's going on with all the accountant stuff, and Michael Jr. comes in and he's like, "I had a bad dream," and he's channeling Ben, his younger brother.
Yeah, it's the really kind of heartfelt moment of the film.
But it's heartfelt, but it's within the candlelight as well. And it's that discussion then of, do you like Ben more than me?
Yeah.
And I thought that was lovely.
Well, yeah, because when you finally get these, because the movie's willing to take its time, certainly in terms of the emotional stuff, nothing ever feels kind of like saccharine. It's like, you don't get the first moment of genuine levity until like well over an hour in. And it's basically when he's teaching Michael Jr. to drive, and he looks like he's going to drive into the tractor in front of him, and he's like, "Oh, we made it." It's like, "Oh, we did we?" And I was just like, that is the first, and it's not even a joke, but it's just a moment of levity. It was the first moment in the entire movie, and it's over an hour in.
It was just before that as well, because it's a young know-it-all kid, 12 years of age. And it's like, right, do you know the clutch? Yeah, I know the clutch. Are you sure? What's the clutch for? Clutching. Yep, the clutch is for clutching. And it's something I would have done to my dad. You don't fucking know anything. I'm gonna.
Well, if it's just like there's only a handful of moments in this entire film when like the movie, and obviously it's the way we kind of see it through Tom Hanks's character, where it lets its guard down. And in terms of levity, it's him teaching his son to drive, and in terms of emotions, it's at the house when he's been injured, and they're having that moment, and he says, "Oh, who did you love more? Oh, I loved you both," and he has that hug. And it's one of the few moments of genuine like affection. You can see, again, because these are fantastic actors, you can see the affection behind Tom Hanks's eyes. But to actually show it, I mean, there's that moment, and after he kills Connor, he gives his son a hug. That's basically it for the whole film. That is it. But it just works.
Can you love your kids equally?
I don't know. That's what everyone says. It's just the stock answer, isn't it?
That's what I mean. I mean, there's a reason I've only got one kid, because I don't have to choose. So we're good. Yeah. That's the only reason. But
everyone has a favorite. They must do. If they stopped and thought about it objectively, they'd be like, "Yeah, Steve's a better son." I mean, I love Paul, but he's a bit of a dick sometimes.
I look at me and my brother, and I turn around to my mum and I go, "You love us both equally? Really?" Like one of us, I love the fact that. Listen, but the fact that you're asking that question of your mother, I have to assume that she loves you more. Let's be honest. No, she can love. I was going to name him then. She can love my brother more. I don't know, but I look at the way me and my brother are, and I look at like how we grew up and things like that. I'm thinking, no, we were dicks. There's no way you loved us equally. One of us was.
No, I think all parents have their favorites, but yeah, it's a touching sequence. But like I say, it does both ends of the spectrum, because I know the violence is relatively subdued for the most part. Other than bizarrely, you don't see much blood in the movie until you see Tom Hanks shot at the end. But the sequence with
I think that was a choice. I do think that was a choice.
Oh, yeah, 100%. With the whites and everything, it was obviously a choice. But one of the best sequences in the film, not a great deal happens. It's the one where the aforementioned scene where Tom Hanks gets clipped on the shoulder. But the way they set up where, he's dealing with the accountant, there's the ticker tape machine going off so he can't hear the horn, the way it builds up tension, even just the way they shoot. And I remember they used it in the trailer. Jude Law walking across the road with the shotgun in his coat. That should be a nothing scene. Yeah. It looks amazing. It's a fantastic scene, and it has no right to be, because nothing really is happening. It's just him walking across the road, and we don't really have the confrontation, but the scene still works all the same.
Speaking of that, walking across the road and that whole hotel scene.
Hmm.
And I was thinking about this when I was thinking about other movies set during this period as well, because it was a big thing. Did the hotel have a ticker tape there?
I don't know.
Or does he bring it and plug it in like it's his
I
laptop?
assume he because he is an accountant. I assume he just brings it with him everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think it was like, I mean, it served two purposes, didn't it? One, it was loud, and
Yeah.
two, it broke and obviously messed up
Yeah, and
people's face.
it brings the tension, doesn't it? It
Yeah, you
gives you the
need that.
tension because it's
I
loud
found
and you can't
the
hear that.
yeah, and the way they film it, it's turned up to 11. That ticker tape is loud as shit, and it totally works for the scene. But like I said, scene to scene, you could say that for nearly every moment in this film.
Because he is traveling heavy. He's not traveling light, that guy.
No, no, he's
You know,
got a lot with him. It's like
yeah.
carrying a ticker tape machine. I
He's
guess it's
carrying a
like
ticket tape
carrying
machine.
around like a kind of desktop PC
He's
nowadays.
carrying an empty
Mm-hmm.
an empty metal like locker, foot locker. Just like was it always empty? Did they knew they were going to set him up? I know it was a setup,
Mm-hmm.
but
It
is he
looks like
carrying
he's
that just
living
for that?
pretty well. Like that's his whole shtick, isn't it? He's staying in the best hotels. I assume he's got a bit of money. It's probably not him carting around. I'm sure he's doing absolutely fine.
Hmm,
But
I
that
don't know.
seems like an odd place for us to end talking about this movie. But I feel like
Yeah,
we should move on to favorite scene, even though we've already talked about it.
yeah.
Oh,
We
unless
can.
you, sorry, no, you did give a Rob take earlier, but do you have any others before we move on
Oh
to
well,
that?
yeah, I do have a Rob take.
Go for it.
As much as it took me out of the film a bit. As much as I love this film, I couldn't get on with Tom Hanks's fake nose.
His fake nose.
Yeah,
Did he have a fake nose?
he had a fake nose to make him look more like I'm guessing a 1930s gangster. It was a fake nose, and I couldn't
I think
get
you're
on
going to
with it.
say like Irish. That's one of the things we haven't noticed. Mentioned the fact that at the start they really lean into two things. This is a Chicago-based movie, even though a lot of it's in the surrounding areas, and the fact that it's like that opening sequence. It's like everyone's like referencing the fact that they're Irish. Then they start doing an Irish dance, and then when Paul Newman sits down to play on the piano, the sheet music literally just says Irish songs. I'm like, dude, we get it. They're
Yeah.
fucking Irish. Here, have an Irish nose.
They
I
made
can't believe I didn't know this.
they made a big deal as well of them sitting and playing on the piano together, and everyone's
Mhm.
looking at him, and Ben turns around to Connor and goes, "Why are you always smiling?" Because it's fucking whatever he says. I can't remember what he says, but
Because it's also fucking
it's
hilarious.
also fucking hilarious. Yeah, but all of a sudden, like it's not chopsticks from Big. They're playing
No.
on the piano and they're just pressing keys.
Yeah, I think it's what it represents rather. But I know what you mean. There was a point where I was just like, listen, I know what you're going for. It's this sweet moment between a father and his adopted son. And it's supposed to kind of like wind up Connor as well because he's seeing them having this like, this connection beyond words. But also I'm just like, couldn't they both be a little bit better at the piano?
It's so funny as well what you say about like tell us you're Irish because it was originally not going to be the piano; it was going to be those two doing an Irish dance, an
Oh,
Irish
thank
jig.
God they went with. I'm glad they went with the piano. Then I'm not going to complain about their piano skills. I'm just glad it wasn't a fucking Irish jig. The thing is, I think Paul Newman's character could have pulled it off. I do not buy for a second the
we
idea of Michael Sullivan dancing.
we know as well. You can't do it. The best Irish jig ever on film was Last Boy Scout.
That's a good shout. It's a good
Yeah.
shout. I got to be honest, I don't have a list of favorite Irish jigs. One thing I should mention before we move on, actually, is this one of the best rain movies? Like, just full stop.
So wet, isn't it?
It's just the way it's shot. Like this film, when I think about it, it's not always raining. It's only raining like for a few shots, but it feels like it's raining on all like the key shots of the movie. And
I
I
would
was trying to
argue
think.
Black Rain or Purple Rain might be a better rain movie, but
Well, I was like, we're talking Black Rain, Purple Rain, Hard Rain.
Hard Rain,
There's
yeah,
another classic.
yeah.
I always think of the Matrix Revolutions, the sequence at the end with Agent Smith, where they had like the special machines to make
Yeah.
the rain especially chubby, which makes me think of Bowfinger and
Chubby Rain,
from
yeah.
that movie. But Blade Runner, that's another famous one with fantastic rain
Yeah, that's a
sequences.
very wet movie, yeah.
But the way he shoots downpours in this movie, I mean, I think it's like right up there. It's amongst the best of them. But anyway, sorry, I just wanted to mention that before we moved on to favorite
No worries.
sequence. Funnily enough, a scene where it's raining, funnily enough.
Yeah. So I wrote I same as you, the rain soaked street hit, the moment Sullivan steps out of the shadows and guns down Rooney's men in the rain is pure cinematic poetry. There's no dialogue, no music, just the sound of rain, gunfire, and inevitability. It's one of the most hauntingly beautiful action scenes I think I've ever seen filmed.
Yeah, I couldn't say it better
Yeah,
myself. Absolutely agree with everything you said there. It's in a movie full of fantastic sequences. That one stands out like a sore thumb. And like you said, the use of music, and then when he finally says, "I'm glad to shoot," and then when he shoots, of course, Rooney, it goes to the sound of the gun rather than
yeah,
the sound of the music, and it has that
yeah.
much more impact. And the way it kind of leads into Connor's death and the complete opposite ends of the spectrum and how that works, absolutely fantastic. So yeah, in complete agreement. Oscar season in which we hand out three. Oh, sorry, buddy.
No, no, it's fine. I'll let you finish. Sorry, I will let you. I said, do you mind if I jump onto the Oscar because it's going to go follow beautifully with
Yeah, yeah, go
favorite
for
scene.
it. Oh, I'll
Uh,
just say so. Oscars in which we hand out three Oscars and three Razzies in categories of our choosing. Take the floor.
uh, the Oscar for the best use of Rain as a supporting character, winner
Mhm.
the entire film. It rains so much it should have been credited as Rain, played by Rain.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
almost its own character. It's absolutely
yeah.
gorgeous.
The Oscar for the best final performance, Paul Newman. It's a
Mhm.
masterclass in quiet heartbreak. I think he does so good in this film.
Mhm. I
Uh,
think it is so good, so good. See, I
so
can
good.
tell you sound like Pep Guardiola, but that means absolutely nothing to you, so it's fine. Let's move on.
And the Oscar for the best creepy assassin is Jude Law. He looks like he hasn't slept since 1923 and eats corpses for breakfast.
Absolutely agree. I mean, my Oscars list is pretty boring, to be honest. I mean, the thing is, the Oscar for Best Cinematography did go to Conrad L. Hall, but I also want to give the Oscar to Conrad L. Hall for cinematography because this movie is that goddamn gorgeous. The Oscar for Underage Smoking goes to Michael Jr. and his pipe, absolutely elite stuff.
Yeah.
And as you already mentioned, the Oscar for Best Rain goes to this movie, elite level rain. Razzies?
Yep. So the Razzie for the worst childhood innocence preservation plan goes to Michael Sullivan. I mean, taking your kid on a murder road trip is, well, it's a choice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Certainly is.
The
But
Razzie
the
for the
film feels very different. When they actually go on their road trip and they start robbing banks, it suddenly feels quite jaunty for a little while. And then, of course, people
I
start
mean,
dying again.
but again,
And then the
because
rain comes back and
it's
everyone's miserable.
the longevity as well, because which is strange for this film, but you do get a montage, you get a bank robbery
Yeah, you
montage
totally do.
of Michael Jr. constantly fucking up
Yeah, it's quite
the
charming.
getaway. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
you
he's
can do that.
curbed it, he's nearly
Yeah.
crashed his car, he's stalled it, he's made a jerk. It's just,
hmm
yeah,
Yeah, the moments of levity and comedy are slight to say the least, and sparingly used, but they are effective.
yeah. The Razzie for the worst hobby for a hitman goes to Harlan Maguire. I mean, photography is fine, but photography of corpses is less fine. Yeah.
Agreed.
And the Razzie for the worst bank robbery efficiency goes to the Sullivans. They rob banks like they're trying to not to inconvenience anyone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the movie where he is it George Clooney robs a bank with a banana? Am I making that up?
You're gonna say, is it out of sight again?
I think it might be out of sight. We
We
really
have
need
to
to.
do out of sight
We
because
do have to out of sight. That film's so good, dude.
again,
Very different, but
a
very good
film
film.
I've never seen.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
there's no way you're not going to enjoy that film. The Razzie for obvious wronging goes to Jude Law as Harlan Maguire. The teeth, the nails, the sugar, the pallid complexion. You just know he's going to be a bad man.
The very very high hairline.
Yeah, everything about him he just looks gross and
Yeah.
unpleasant. I mean, if anything, they borderline push it too far. Like when you see the nails and everything in the teeth, you're just like, it does like blur into comic book territory,
Yeah.
which of course this is what this is based on. But the rest of the movie doesn't feel like a comic book adaptation. So his character, if it wasn't for Jude Law's performance, could have easily tiptoed into kind of like self parody, I think, but it doesn't. Totally gets away with it. The Razzie for forgetting. The one thing that Michael Sullivan shouldn't have forgotten, and it's that Harlan was almost certainly going to be waiting at the house of position.
Yeah.
I know we can make the argument that he could have assumed that Nitti would have called him off, but I just don't think there's enough there. I think considering everything he's done, I'm just like, just go somewhere else, dude. Just go anywhere else.
For a seasoned hitman as well, check your corners.
Check your corners, dude. Like you said, the fact that he even mentions it earlier in the film, it felt unforgivable to me. And the Razzie for other obvious wronging goes to Daniel Craig as Connor. I mean, you need all of 10 seconds to realize he's not to be trusted.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need a line of dialogue. You just see him, you see his greasy face, and you're just like, dude, don't trust that motherfucker. And of course, he's double crossing everyone. Any alternative titles to this film?
I did get that up and then I lost it. There we go. It's gonna be Road to stuff. So Bulgaria is Road to Revenge.
Yeah.
French Canadian is The Way of Perdition.
Fair enough. Well, it's the meaning of Perdition and all
Yeah.
that. Like Perdition isn't a real place in Illinois, and the name is very purposefully chosen, like everything else in the film.
Croatia, The Road to Destruction.
Yeah.
Czech Republic, The Road to Damnation.
Fair enough.
Greece, The Road of Loss.
Mm,
Italy, It Was My Father.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Latvia, The Road to the Puddle.
Oh, no, I don't get that one at all.
Russia, The Cursed Path.
That's okay. They're all
Serbia,
fine, except for the
yeah.
puddle one.
Serbia, The Road of No Return.
Yeah, fine.
Taiwan, Illegal Justice.
No, it sounds like a 80s action movie.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Steven Seagal movie.
Ukraine, The Cursed Way.
They're getting a little bit worse now.
And did we already do? No, Vietnam, The Path of Doom.
See, I was just about to say, until you got those last three, I was like, these are some of the best alternative titles we've come across. They're all of a vibe kind of thing, but I was just like, you could almost use any of those and they would all work. Oh, excuse me. And then those last three were absolute horseshit. So, yeah, mostly good, except for the last three. Any facts for this movie?
Yeah. So for the bank robbery sequence, Tyler Hoechlin had to learn to drive, something he was only too happy to do. Hoechlin mastered it all easily, but just to be on the safe side, a stunt driver was sitting in the back with his own set of driving controls.
Mm-hmm.
The movie is loosely based on actual events and the real enforcer for mobster John Looney, who was betrayed by him.
That's interesting, the idea that he was betrayed by John, if they're talking about Sullivan in this film, because he wasn't betrayed. Like, Sullivan got betrayed and then he just took his vengeance.
Due to stereotyping issues, Stanley Tucci generally avoided roles in gangster movies. However, the prospect of working with Sir Sam Mendes was enough for him to reconsider his stance.
That's fair enough, I think.
To create a villain that could challenge the physically imposing Tom Hanks, something I wouldn't put those two words together, but absolutely. In this, he is physically imposing. He looks like a beast.
I tell you the time you really know, because a lot of it I thought maybe it was like the coats and stuff. But when he's been after he's been shot and he's at the farm, there's a bit where he's just wearing a white shirt, and you see the way he's sitting. You're like, fucking Hanks is yoked in this movie, and it's such a subtle way because there's no like taking his top off like they would be in like a modern day movie where it's like, oh, check out his abs. He's just big. He's just big. But I never really noticed it until that sequence.
To create a villain that could challenge Tom Hanks, director Sam Mendes wanted Jude Law to seem rodent-like.
Well, it's almost like the Terminator 2 vibe, isn't it? Yeah. Like, you can't have two Arnold Schwarzeneggers, so you go for Robert Patrick and have him look like a panther, basically.
One day when cinematographer Conrad Al Hall was setting up a shot of Paul Newman, Paul looked through his viewfinder and began to cry. When asked what was wrong, he just said he was so beautiful. He was so beautiful. This is the final live-action feature film for both Hall and Newman before their respective deaths. They had worked together several times before, most notably Cool Hand Luke.
Well, he is a handsome son of a bitch, even in his 70s. Yeah. And, talk about the camera loving someone. And like I said, everybody's fantastic in this film, so it's hard to pick anyone out. But I don't think this is one of those legacy Oscars where they're just like, oh, he's coming to... Because nobody knew he was going to pass away soon. Like he was doing fucking handstands when he was filming this. I don't think it's, every so often you get like an Oscar where you're just like, oh, that's a bit of a legacy when they're giving it to him as a kind of makeup for ones they've missed in the past because he's getting a bit older now. This doesn't feel like this. When he's nominated for Best Supporting Actor, and even if he had won it, you'd be like, that would have felt absolutely justified.
Tom Hanks wore a bit of makeup for this film, most notably a prosthetic nose to make his character appear more gangster-like. How you didn't see it?
I didn't notice it, dude, which is criminal because usually I give Beth and shit when she doesn't notice stuff in movies. Usually it's like I'm pretty good at these things, but I just did not notice the nose. So I'm going to have to go back and look now, and it's going to be alarming how obvious it is.
Maguire is not in the original graphic novel. He is a creation of writer David Self.
Oh, really? Well, that's quite surprising because he's such a big character in the movie.
Paul Newman had an assist with his accent from Irish writer Frank McCourt, the author of Angela's Ashes, who gave him a tape of him speaking. McCourt has lived in the US for many years, but still has some vestiges of his native Irish accent, which is what Newman wanted to emulate.
What I find interesting as well, because you hear some people, especially if you listen to like American movie podcasts and stuff, what they end up talking about is like a Chicago accent. I've not tuned in, and I've been to Chicago. I have not tuned in to what a Chicago accent is. Like if you say, like a Philly accent, a Boston accent, a New York accent, even like you'd be like, oh, like a really flat kind of like West Coast accent, or obviously the Southern states. If you say like Chicago accent, it's obviously a thing. I don't know what it sounds like. It's not a matter of like, oh, I can't like replicate it. I don't know what it is.
No, I agree.
You couldn't. I don't. I'm just not convinced I could pick it out of a crowd. I'd be like, oh, I guess maybe I'd say maybe sounds like Midwest, but I don't know what kind of dictates. Oh, that's specifically a Chicago accent, and which is bizarre considering all the fucking Chicago movies I've seen and the fact that I've been to Chicago. It is what it is.
Right, I'll do three more and then we'll move on. I was wrong when I said about Tyler Hoechlin winning his part against 20,000. I added an extra zero. It was 2,000 young
I thought it
actors.
sounded like a lot. I thought,
Yeah,
but it's just
yeah,
like you're the numbers guy, so I'll
yeah,
allow it. But yeah, 2,000. That's still a lot, though, dude. That's
yeah.
still a lot.
The scene where John Rooney and Michael Sullivan are playing the piano together was originally supposed to be an Irish dance sequence shared between the two of them. Did you just shudder?
Yeah, bullet dodge, dude. That would have
Yeah.
been horrendous.
And finally, the bead of sweat that rolls down Tom Hanks's face during his first encounter with Jude Law, though scripted, was Hank's own natural sweat. What they're trying to say with this fact is he's such a good actor, he can make sweat appear on command.
He doesn't cry on demand. He sweats on demand.
Yeah. You want to bead of sweat? Just one bead of sweat. There it is.
It's a good bead of sweat.
Yeah.
Oh, God, such a great sequence. How to the Future remake sequel, Let It Die, Leave Well Alone. I think we're all going to agree here. Leave well alone. I mean, all I'd say is just like bring it back, make people aware of it again. I feel like I need to go out of my way to tell people, it's like, dude, this is on Disney Plus. And it's amazing. And not only am I saying leave well alone because it's a fantastic movie. One, you're not going to get a cast like this again. Like, who would you cast in this film to try and get close to this in 2026? You're going to get nowhere fucking near it. Nowhere fucking near it. On top of that, this film is absolutely timeless. If you put this on and told somebody, unless, of course, they knew Tom Hanks' age, blah, blah, blah. If you put this on and told someone this was made yesterday, they would believe you. There is nothing to give this away at all. If you watch this in HD, gorgeous looking movie, absolutely timeless. So yes, leave well alone.
I agree with you. Leave well alone, especially now. I don't need a remake of this. But what's interesting is there are 3 sequels to the novel, to the graphic novel, and there's 2 that are together called Road to Purgatory and Road to Paradise, about dealing with Michael O'Sullivan Jr. as and there's adoptive identity of Michael Satorino. He's done military service in World War II. He returns back to organized crime. And it was going to be, in 2008, Collins was attached to write and direct the adaptation of that. An adaptation of that doesn't need to be a general sequel. It's just about an older Michael Sullivan Jr. I can deal with, and it'd be interesting to see. But you're not going to get, I don't want a sequel to this film. And they did a Return to Perdition, where the novel follows Michael Jr. again, he's now a Vietnam vet, who returns home from the war and gets caught up in the criminal underworld of his father and grandfather.
Like, it's one of those things, right? If you told me Sam Mendes...
Oh, sorry. Michael Sullivan, Tom Hanks' grandson then. Return to Perdition is about Michael's grandson, who is in the... Yeah, okay.
Like I said, if you had Sam Mendes come back and they had a decent cast, I wouldn't be against the idea of having, the additional kind of graphic novels brought to life. But as I mentioned earlier, the weakest element of this film is probably the story. It was like, I love the experience of watching the film because it's so gorgeous to look at, because the actors are fantastic, and the story is absolutely fine. But it wasn't like I got to the end of it. I said, I want to spend more time in this universe. I'm like, I'm happy for it to end.
I agree with that. And I said, so this said Collins reported that the sequel had not yet. Collins was going to write and direct. Collins being Max Allan Collins, who wrote the graphic novel. And he wrote the screenplay for Road to Perdition.
Yeah.
The problem that we said, you already said it last week, some people would probably stay in their lane. Stephen King probably didn't need to direct a film.
No, certainly not.
So, and I'm pretty sure it was a SimCity: A Dame to Kill For. The writer of Sin City, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, I do apologize, actually directed that sequel.
Yeah,
it's a largely forgettable sequel.
Yeah, it's probably the nicest thing to say about it.
Which was done by Robert Rodriguez. And Robert Rodriguez directed it along with the creator of Sin City. I know that. But he had a helping hand with Robert Rodriguez. When the director just went, the creator of Sin City just went along and did his own thing. Yeah. Like I said, largely forgettable,
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I just think it's kind of like almost, it's those individual elements that I truly love about this film rather than the story on the whole. As I said, I think
Frank Miller.
Frank Miller. Yeah, good shout. I think the story is relatively, you know where the story is going to go. It's no surprise when it gets there, but it's the journey because of the trimmings all being so fantastic. It's those individual elements which make up the movie. So
Yeah.
it's like I said, sequel, whatever. But I'm not exactly jonesing for one. I'm more than happy for this to be left well alone. In terms of making a change, I mean, it comes back to what I was saying just a moment ago. It all feels a tad predictable and pulpy, and that is me stretching to criticize a film that I otherwise love. The story is perfectly solid, but arguably shortfall of everything that surrounds it. It's like, does the story live up to the direction, the cinematography, the acting, the world building? No, it doesn't. It's serviceable. It's absolutely fine, but that's the weakest element.
You did that perfectly, Ian, as well. It's a Rob take of the podcast. If I had a Rob take of this podcast, it would be the fact that you said a shorts fall. Not it's shorts fall. It doesn't fall short. We have a friend who did. We were all out one day over Dave's house, and he said, "Let's do a toin toss." Everybody just agreed that was fine, and I had to go, hang on. Did you just say toin toss?
See, this is why we have a Rob's take and not a Liam's take. It's because you're the one who just can't let shit like that go.
Exactly.
No one would have noticed. It would have been fine, but you got to shame me on the podcast. Unfucking believable.
For me, it's I didn't mean to shame. Well, maybe
no, dude, I don't care. I'm messing.
For me, give Connor Rooney more depth. Connor's a great villain, but the film would hit even harder if we understood more about his resentment, insecurity, and desperation. Just a few more scenes exploring his fractured relationship with his father will make the final tragedy even more devastating. He didn't do much. I mean, he did a lot at the beginning and just largely disappeared for the rest of the film.
I think they got away. I see where you're coming from. I think they get away with it because I think Dan Craig is so good in this film and that he sells all of those emotions, and I think he sells the history on his face. But yeah, I see what you mean. It couldn't have harmed. But it's like, again, this film comes in at a pretty decent kind of like 2 hours.
Hour and 57.
Yeah, I feel like it hits the sweet spot. And of course, there's always things you could flash up further, but it would come at the cost of this film maybe feeling a little bit stretched out. So I think an hour and 57 is just about the sweet spot.
No, I get what you're saying, but I still think we need a bit more. It's mad seeing Daniel Craig as well pop up like in all these, because I remember him from Layer Cake. That's probably one of the earliest things I remember.
Tomb Raider? He was in Tomb Raider?
That's right. He was that's what I was going to say. He was Tomb Raider the very same year, I believe. I think Tomb Raider was 2000. Yeah, 2001. So he went from 2001, 2002. But when was Layer Cake? I'm pretty sure that was
a bit later.
Yeah, it was 2004. Yeah.
That was the one that famously got him the role as Bond, because there's one sequence where he's holding a PPK, is that whatever
Walter
the name
PPK,
of the gun is?
Yeah.
Walter PPK. And he holds the gun out and everyone's just like, wait a minute, that guy has got like a strong Bond vibe. And turns out they were correct because, and Layer Cake's a fantastic film. And it's one of those interesting films because that was a smaller film, but in all of these films, he was like I think he was seen as like an interesting character actor because, of course, we accept him as James Bond now, but he's quite an odd-looking cat.
Yeah.
But it was Layer Cake, even though it was a smaller movie, it was the first film I think everyone looked and went, this guy might be a leading man, bizarrely. Which leads us into like the whole Tom Hanks thing. It's like we kind of accept it now, but I think Tom Hanks as a traditional leading man was probably seen as something of a stretch if you'd asked someone in like 1989. I don't think anyone would have expected the career trajectory he had. And I think you'd say the same thing about Daniel Craig in this movie. Like, well, he's clearly an incredibly accomplished actor, but he's got a slightly odd look. He's almost certainly, kind of destined to become a successful character actor. I don't think anyone would have said, yeah, that guy's going to be fucking James Bond and one of the biggest stars of the next 20 years. But it is what it is.
It's interesting as well, because when you talk about Layer Cake, if you would have told me who directed Layer Cake, I know it's Matthew Vaughn, but growing up, I would have put Guy Ritchie. A lot of people confuse Layer Cake with a Guy Ritchie film.
Yeah, you see why.
Yeah, it does feel like and it's very interesting that the book, A Layer Cake, has a sequel called Viva la Madness, which is now being directed by Guy Ritchie, and Daniel Craig's part is now being played by Jason Statham.
Yeah, that feels full circle. It also feels like a bit of a step down. I love Jason Statham. I think he's one of the few kind of justifiable like British action stars. We don't actually have all that many of them. I don't think he has quite the range of Daniel Craig, dare I say.
You shared something that was beautiful the other day on social media. It was I think it was a reshare, but it was something along the lines of, it's funny how growing up we watched Van Damme movies where they had to explain his accent. But Arnold Schwarzenegger was like, I don't know, Vince Smith from Michigan, and we're all dealing with it.
You just accept it, yeah.
I love, because that's with Jason Statham at the moment. I mean, his latest films of I'm an angry beekeeper, or I'm just a builder who... Everything.
it's just I have a job and I'm quite angry and violent. That's it.
But also, let's explain the fact he can't do an American accent by saying, no, no, he either spent some time in the UK, he
Always.
emigrated from the UK, or like I don't know, he went to train with them and just picked up his accent and now he's back.
Yeah,
It's
they
so
never let
funny.
him just be like full on British. They always just like, well, can you give it a bit of a try for American audiences? But they know he's not nailing it, so they have to mention it in any film. And I think it's because of the uncanny valley thing of like, is he doing American? I can't quite tell, or is he just staying British? He's just doing Jason Statham. Whereas Arnold Schwarzenegger is just, what are you going to do in every film? Explain that he's Austrian? It's just like, nah, we're just gonna him be Stephen Smith from Oklahoma, and everything is absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Absolutely mental. In terms of video games, unsurprisingly, there wasn't a Road to Perdition video game. I think there's a very easy for the answer for this one. Anything by a first-party Sony developer over the past decade. This is a father and son going on a melancholy, violent adventure. Yeah, dude, just pick whichever one you want. They're all the same fucking story. So yeah, any Sony first-party studio.
I kind of picked Mafia, the definitive edition from 2020.
It's a great game. Great game.
I mean, why does it fit? Depression era crime, loyalty versus survival, protagonist trapped in a violent world, gorgeous, moody atmosphere. I think it all.
Don't get me wrong. That makes sense from like the but it's just there's something about like seeing a father with a son, and the father's not quite in touch with his emotions. I'm just like, dude, how many fucking Sony games have I played with this exact same narrative? But yeah, Matthew is probably the correct answer.
God of War on the way to Perdition, Uncharted to Perdition. You know,
Yeah,
the last of Perdition. Like, yeah, you're right.
Speaking of which, have you played the latest Mafia? Because I haven't played. Because I know some people had issues with that. I really like Mafia 3, the one set in the 60s. It had an absolute fucking elite level soundtrack, and it wasn't the best open world, but it was just like a really solid game.
I've only ever played the first one.
Oh, the first one's good. I mean, this one is like more of a throwback because I think it's set in Sardinia in like 1912 or something like that. But I mean, I've seen the screenshots. It looks absolutely gorgeous. It's very much on that list of, I've got like a backlog of say 20 games I want to play. Yeah. And that one's around like number 8. So I do plan on getting around to, I think it's called Mafia the Old Country or something like that.
Oh, speaking of like, we talked a lot about it. The new Bond game is fucking ace. I was such a big fan of it.
That's quite a bit higher on my list. Yeah. I just finished Forza, so that's going to be one of the next few games I play. But it's just finding all the fucking time, isn't it? So that's why I prefer movies. I can watch a movie in 2 hours and be done with it. I was like, I want to play these video games. I'm like, it's going to take like 30 hours. What the fuck? I know Bond is. How long's Bond? Like 15?
Yeah, Bond's not long at all because they're concentrating more on like the tax sim stuff and everything. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've called it. If I've said it to anyone, I've just said it's basically British Uncharted.
Which is a solid sell to me. Yeah. So, but I absolutely want to play that. In terms of IMDb, so this is where we pick a random 10-star and 1-star review. But before we do that, I try and guess how many written reviews there are for this film.
You are so wrong.
Is there a lot?
Whatever you're going to say, you're wrong.
Is it over 200?
Yes.
I'm gonna go wild. Because last time you gave me this kind of response, it was a whack. I can't remember what the film was, but it was crazy numbers, like 2,211.
1,187 reviews.
Okay, so not that many, but I went a bit too insane.
Not that many, but when you start with 200, that is a lot. Right,
so 1,100. I think there's going to be loads of 10-star reviews for this film. 272.
Oh, 200 is good, mate. 236.
Oh, I'll deal with that. That's fine. That's a decent guess.
Right, so this was written in August 2005, titled A True Masterpiece. Road to Perdition, a movie undeservedly overlooked at that year's Oscars, is the second work of Sam Mendes, and in my opinion, his best work. A director who 3 years before won Oscar for his widely acclaimed but controversial American Beauty. This is a terrific movie, and at the same time, ultimately poignant and sad. It's a story of a relatively wealthy and happy family from outward appearance during difficult times of depression. When Michael Sullivan, a father of 2 children, played by... Do you know what? I'm not going to read the rest of it, but it's just a synopsis.
Just a synopsis. Yeah. I love with this film as well, like every time, like you mentioned being melancholy and sad, it's like every time you think it might be okay, that Newman score comes back in and just reminds you, it's like, no, you're supposed to be sad. Make sure you're sad. Ridiculous. 1-star reviews. Now, fuck me. I know there's 1,000, so there must be at least a few. It's a travesty if this film was given 1 star by anyone, but I'm going to go really low considering the number of reviews. I'm going to say 17.
Oh, dude, 27.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still too high, but at least it's a low percentage.
Right, so this was written in April 2015, titled Slow, Tedious, Pretentious, Boring, Yep, Here Comes Perdition.
Oh,
I know.
fuck. Now, here we go. Strap yourself in.
I was gonna, I was looking at this title and I went, did I write this?
Jesus Christ.
Uh,
1917, review by Rob.
yeah. Okay, so I'm going to spoil it from the start. Okay, ready? Tom Hanks, the noble minded Chicago Irish gangster enforcer, escapes Paul Newman's Irish mob with his young, chubby Italian looking son, heading for his
What?
Irish sister's remote beach house.
What a
Unfortunately,
bizarre dig.
unfortunately, when they get there, the possibly Irish phot- photograph fetishist assassin,
Mhm.
hired by Paul Newman, has got there first and shoots him just as he is admiring the sea view. Tom manages to kill the assassin back, though, in order to save his son from a life of Irish crime, probably. There, I've saved you having to endure this pile of oh dear. Any episode of Boardwalk Empire has more depth, authenticity, and downright entertainment value than Road to Perdition. And that's not saying much because Boardwalk Empire was pretty tedious. Any resemblance to Shawshank Redemption is solely down to Thomas Newman's score. So do you think he
Well,
was
yeah,
trying to be
but what
funny?
has it got to? Why should it have anything to do with
I
Shawshank
love,
Redemption?
I love that you got so mad then you just tripping up your tongue. It was
Well,
amazing.
it's just like out of the fucking nowhere, where it's just like, this doesn't have anything to do with Star
Do you know
Wars.
what
You know,
really?
fucking shit.
I think what really pissed him off is that, like you said, and it didn't piss you. They made sure you knew everything was Irish, but apparently, young
Mhm.
Superman is a chubby Italian boy, so that
What's
really
up with the
upset him.
chubby?
I don't know.
Like, for one, he's not chubby.
No,
He's just not chubby. Yeah, it's a
it's like
bizarre review.
calling Fat Kid from Monster Squad. He was
Well,
not Fat Kid.
at least he was carrying. Like, and I'm not saying I agree with it, but he was carrying a little bit of timber. Michael Jr. is just a kid. Like,
Yes.
he's not even. It's not one of those things where we're being like clutching our pearls, where we're like, oh, he's not actually chubby. Like, dude, he's not chubby at all.
Can
He's
you
a
be
handsome little
chubby
kid.
in 1930s Depression era when you're riding a bike and smoking a pipe?
Well, he's just not chubby.
That's what I mean.
It's so weird. And
But
then just throwing in the comparison to like Shawshank Redemption because they've got the same composer is absolutely
but I
mental. But
honestly
of course,
think
it's a 1-star review for Road to fucking Perdition.
I honestly think what upset him more than anything else is the fact that he looked Italian and not Irish.
Yeah, oh, well, of course, absolutely bullshit. In fairness, he doesn't look much like him, but that's besides the point. Scores and recommendations. I don't like using these, but I have to this week. It's a 4.5 from me. I couldn't quite give it a 5. As I said, I think it falls just short of true excellence because the story is a little bit predictable, but it comes incredibly close. So it's a 4.5 for me. And yes, I will be actively going out of my way to tell people to watch this film because I'm just like, why is nobody talking about this anymore? Why is it fallen off the face of the earth? It deserves to be seen by more people.
So it's actually I didn't trip up on the story as much as you. Yes, it was a bit like
Yeah, it's
one note.
a
It's
minor
fine.
quibble.
Yeah,
A minor
it
quibble.
was one note, and then I didn't. The ending didn't upset me as much as you. The fact that, and I didn't say you got upset by the ending, but the fact
Yeah,
that
but yeah,
yeah.
you don't have
So
the same minor quibbles that I do.
no,
That's all, yeah.
the fake nose didn't take me out enough to knock it off. So it's a 5 for me, and yes, I would
Completely reasonable.
recommend it.
And like I said, we're talking when I say 4.5, we are talking about the difference between a 9 out of 10 and a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
We both love this film. I think that's the only important thing to say for it. And we're both highly recommending it, to say the least. Absolutely fantastic film and a great choice, by the way. Before we get to my choices, do you have a quiz for this week?
Yeah, I got 3 poor man's toes ready for you
Poor
to go.
man's toes, yes, Batman calls them.
Yeah, that's sticking now.
Yeah, poor man's toes, of course, yeah.
Right,
I can't even remember what the real word is anymore. No idea.
I'm not explaining the rules. By now, people should know what it is. I'm just going to give you a
it.
clue, and then you've got to put the 2 titles together in some
Basically,
sort of
answer smash.
yeah. Right, so I nearly gave you the title then, because the title is the title of this section. Right, the clue is a wrongly convicted man is forced to survive a deadly televised game show whilst a former assassin becomes a relentless guardian seeking vengeance for a kidnapped child.
So, Running Man.
Mm?
And what was the second bit of that clue, sorry?
A former assassin becomes a relentless guardian seeking vengeance for a kidnapped child.
Running Man on Fire?
Running Man on Fire.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. It's just nice to get a first one. I'm like, I've got to get one at least.
A group of filmmakers disappear while investigating a local legend in the woods as a suburban house party spirals into uncontrollable chaos and destruction.
So the Blair Witch Project. Oh God, what's the name of the film? Not Project Alpha. Project. Oh my
I
God!
mean, I'm going to give it to you. You're getting that.
I go on, just tell you because I
The Blair Witch Project X.
Project X. Sorry,
Yeah.
I knew what it was, but I was just like, it's Project Alpha, Project X. Yeah, my bad.
Oh, these are two films that you'd never put together. This is fucking. I've gone a bit beyond on this one. A bully teenager learns discipline and self-defense from an unlikely mentor, while a group of London youths navigate violence, loyalty, and the harsh realities of inner city life.
Okay, so can I get the first bit again? Sorry.
A bully teenager learns discipline and self-defense from an unlikely mentor.
Karate Kids on the block.
No, not on the block. You're getting
No.
a Karate Kid. A group of London youths navigate violence, loyalty, and the harsh realities of inner city life.
Kids.
It's it's not kids. I know where you're going.
In District 9? I don't know. Sorry, I'm not getting that one.
The Karate Kiddlehood.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one. Karate Kiddlehood.
Yeah, because it was such a random name when I first watched it. It's a Kiddlehood, and then I think there was Adulthood, and then there was a further one. I think he did 3.
Of adulthood, I don't think I would have got Kiddlehood. Even when I say it sounds made up. So
I believe it is made up. I mean, there's no Kiddlehood, is it?
Well, in the first half, willing to give me 2 out of 3 for that?
I'll give you 2 because you got you pretty much got what is it, 6 films, so you got 4 films.
Okay, that's fair
yeah. So I'll give you. I'll give you 2. Yeah.
I was fishing for that second one. I was like, I don't want another 1.5. Okay, so next week is my choice. The year is 1981.
Oh, 81. Talking about rain. Blade Runner?
Nope.
Oh,
was that a little bit later? 82, maybe. Anyway,
okay.
The director is Joe Dante.
Oh, fuck me, is Joe. Joe Dante is in Captain America. Joe Dante.
I believe so. But he did like a bunch of. Did he? I'm gonna have to check the other films he's done now.
Yeah, because he did one of my favorites. He did Rocketeer.
Yeah.
I know where you're going.
No, I go for it.
We talked about it a lot, and it's
we have.
It's a crime that people are saying it's a crime that you haven't seen it or we haven't covered it.
Yep.
Are you going Howling?
I am indeed going the Howling.
Okay.
So when I think of Joe Dante, it's bizarre because I always think of his kind of like 80s output, like The Burbs and Gremlins and stuff.
Yeah.
So I forgot that he did. Is that the same Joe Dante who did Captain America?
I believe it. Because didn't he do the Rocketeer?
I'm not
Or is that
sure.
another Joe?
I think I thought it was a different one. I was like, when you said it, I was just like, have I got this all wrong? I always thought of him as like the creature feature guy who did like Inner Space, Small Soldiers, shit like that. I know the Explorers. I think he did as well. As a film I've never seen.
Joe Johnston.
I thought
Captain America. Sorry, that's on me.
Better about me being when you said it. I was just like, it sounded right, but I was just like, I don't think he necessarily directed Captain America. But anyway, he did Gremlins and all that jazz. But I mentioned before that maybe I'd wait for Halloween on this. But you kind of already broke the rules by picking Dog Soldiers. And when you did that, part of the conversation was the greatest ever werewolf films, and one of the ones that obviously came up was The Howling. I was just like, how have I not seen this? I got a bit of shit from people online about the fact that I hadn't seen it. I actually went out of my way to watch what was the film? The absolutely bonkers werewolf film. Is The Company of Wolves? Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I watched that, but I was just like, I don't think that's necessarily one for the podcast because we don't have that attachment to it. And it's a very surreal. Don't get me wrong. I suggest people do go out and watch The Company of Wolves. It's on ITVX. It's real dark fantasy 80s stuff. An utterly unique beast, but I can see why it's held in relatively high regard. But The Howling feels more like a Hey You Guys podcast kind of movie. Yeah. So I was just like, screw it. I've got Studio Canal at the moment.
I was going to say, is this because you got Studio Canal as well?
Well, I was looking through Studio Canal, and there were a few films I was thinking about doing, and I've got Disney Plus now, of course, for a while because I needed it for Road to Perdition.
Road to Perdition, yeah.
And the Howling just immediately jumped at me. I was like, no, I don't want to wait any longer. I genuinely want to see that film. So, yeah, I think this one's going to be fun. You have seen the Howling, yes? And
I
I'm
have
sure
seen the
some of
Howling.
the sequels.
I have seen it a long time ago, and I
I
have seen a few of the sequels. But
yeah, I feel like a bit of the time will be spent talking about the 7 odd sequels to this film.
the Howling sequels.
Is it 7 sequels?
I don't know. Because
sure it's something crazy like 6 or 7 sequels.
I think they're still going up to now. Like,
oh my god,
8 films in total. Yeah, so 7 sequels.
Okay.
2011. So, oh my god, these are some amazing titles. Sorry,
I'm saving for next week.
No, I'm doing them now. I'm doing them now.
You do them now? God,
I'm doing
you got to
titles.
tell people on the podcast next week. Is like he's like we'll go through them then.
All right. I'll do number 2, and then
I'll do number 2. Yeah. Cool.
Howling 2. Your sister is a werewolf.
Get fucked. That's what it's called.
It's the title.
Okay, see, now I kind of want to know, but that's something to look forward to next week. We'll go through all the sequels. We'll read the synopsis on each of them because I feel like you haven't had the opportunity to do that for a while. Your crazy straight to DVD /VHS, kind of sequel section. So we'll definitely have that next week.
Howling 3, Howling 5, and possibly the Howling 7 are the ones I've watched.
I just remember the posters to a few of them, but like I said, I've never even seen the first one, which is held in high regard, just to be clear, and like many of its sequels. Yeah. So it is available on Studio Canal. Obviously, you can rent it on Amazon Prime if you want to. But I think this is going to be a really interesting one. As I say, it's been a movie that's been on my radar for a long time, and I was just like, I'm not going to wait any longer. We'll watch it now. But please do join us next week for 1981's The Howling. Thanks for joining this week for 2002's Road to Perdition. Anything else to add before we wrap this up?
No, mate. We can end it there as always.
Seems reasonable. Okay, I've been Liam, he's been Rob, and you've been listening to the Here You Guys podcast. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys. Bye now.
Oh, and before I forget, where can folk reach us if they were so inclined to?
Well, you can actually reach us on Hey You Guys 80s at Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. But if you want to send us a mail, do heyyouguys80s@gmail.com. Send us in your recommendations. Send us in your thoughts about any of the episodes. Just literally talk to us. We'll have a one-sided talk with you on the podcast.
Yeah. We're nice folk. Get in touch. But no, cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys. Bye now.
Hey, you guys!